Experience is nothing without discipline. So now this is a double meaning. This is like two videos in one because the statement is experience is nothing without discipline, but it means two different things to me because, that's what I found out. So the first meaning is it's experience is nothing without discipline. So from the perspective of experiencing things without the discipline of refraining from doing them or restraint from those experiences, there's not going to be any value in those experiences if you don't discipline yourself away from them. So for example, drugs, and I always use this as an example because I had an experience of drugs in the past, not like real drugs, but drugs. You can't appreciate the enjoyment of like drinking and going out with your friends and shit, or like smoking weed or whatever, if you do it all the time. I'm not trying to promote this either. I'm just trying to explain the philosophy. I'm not trying to promote drugs. So like say you're a fucking heavy drinker, you know what I mean? I drink all the time. Yeah, let's get fucking drunk. Yeah, nah. And then you want to go out with your friends and shit and drink one weekend. You're not gonna be able to appreciate that experience because you haven't disciplined yourself to refrain from drinking. So it's just another day to you. It's just a gray area to you. It's just a fucking like another it's just another breath of air. It's just another cup of water. You know what I mean? So for example, I was a pothead. I would smoke weed fucking majority of my life every single fucking day. And like I would always like quit smoking weed, and then I'd be like, oh man, like I enjoy this, this experience, but I would only enjoy it because I stayed away from it for so long. I'm not telling people to fucking smoke weed, but I'm just giving my experience of it. Like I would smoke weed every day and I couldn't appreciate it, and it just became this normal fucking thing that I would do. And then when I would stop smoking weed and smoke weed, it was like, oh my God, this is like this amazing fun little thing. And then eventually I would just keep smoking every day and it would become a gray area again. So like that was a cycle, and I had to realize like you need to discipline yourself away from these experiences. Say someone who has sex all the time, you're not going to appreciate sex the same way. Like you're just going to be like, what? I was just getting a nut off. Like, what do you mean? Like, we're just fucking. Like, yeah, you're not going to appreciate sex in the same way as someone who's like a virgin or who hasn't had as much sex. They're going to be like, oh, this is important. I want it to go right. I want us to have some kind of emotional connection or whatever. These are just examples, So someone who has sex a lot, if you don't discipline yourself enough to refrain from that behavior and stay away from that, then the experience is not as valuable. Like, what is that experience if you're not disciplined enough to keep yourself away from it, to balance it out? Does that make sense? Like, so that's with anything. Like, I don't really like this music, or I don't like this artist. It's like, yeah, you need to take a break from it, So yeah, experience is nothing without discipline. So like experiencing something happen or an experience in life, it doesn't really have much value if you haven't disciplined yourself like away from it. You know what I mean? Now this isn't for things that you've never experienced, but it's for things that you lost appreciation for. Like, why don't I care about my car anymore? Well, stop fucking driving it. Ride a fucking bike. You're hella gonna appreciate your car. Walk to work if you can, and you're hella gonna appreciate your car. The experience of your car is just so valuable. You get the actual experience. Does that make sense? Okay, now the other side of this statement. Experience is nothing without discipline. Now, no matter how much experience you have, if you don't have the discipline to implement that experience properly, it means nothing. So for example, like if you went to school, or if you read books on something, or if you studied something hella long, I watched hella YouTube videos, I went to college on this, I read books on this, and I fucking have all this experience. That's fine. That's fine that you have all that experience in your fucking brain. But if you don't have the discipline to implement that shit into the world, then it's nothing. It doesn't matter how much you learn if you don't do shit. And I had to fucking learn this, man. I was always the type that knew everything and would never do shit. So I was literally just the same spot in life. It was like, but I'm learning this much, but you do this much, so you still are only this. Does that make sense? So yeah, it doesn't matter how much fucking schooling you did, or how many YouTube videos you watch, or how many fucking books you read on it, or how, if you don't have the discipline to implement that in life, then it's nothing, So for example, there's people, I just always use school as an example because that's not a route that I took, and many people took that route. You'll see people who went to hella school and shit, and they're like, yeah, you're intelligent, you're smart, you know a lot about this, but like, For my 2 months of going to college and dropping out, I know way more about life than you. And it's not about how much school you went. It's about where did you focus your training? Where did you focus the like downloading the memories into your brain to change who you are? You know, like I spent the time on like, oh, I did this thing in life. I need to react a different way, and this, and I need to discipline myself in order to be what I want to be. You know, like I'm not saying everyone who goes to college isn't disciplined, but I'm just saying like you're losing that practical experience of life experience by spending too much on one side. You know, like if you got your head in the books all day for 3 fucking years, well, you haven't even spent 1 week implementing it, so you're still at the first day you read the book. Does that make sense? So in that regard, in that perspective, experience is nothing without discipline. The amount of experience you have is nothing if you don't have the discipline to implement it. You know, so yeah, I'm fucking sweating. It's hot in here. Like hell, I wanted to say that. I really wanted to get that across, and that's something that I had to learn. Those 2 points. So I'll recap. Experience is nothing without discipline, in the sense of experiencing something does not hold the same value if you don't discipline yourself enough to refrain from that in order to appreciate it. Does that make sense? Now, the other side, the amount of experience that you have means nothing if you don't have the discipline to implement that into your life and lifestyle. Does that make sense? All right. I feel like I got my point across in this shit. I was so excited to say this shit. I wanted to like, ah, man, it had a double meaning, and I'm proud of myself for that. So, yeah, just remember, experience is nothing without discipline.